Alright, we're getting ready to do some tack welding and get these struts or webs attached to our leading strips and trailing strips that we have to hold the whole package together. Now, we're not going to weld this to each of these joints because we've got to be able to slide this whole unit off, and we've got to create a dummy sheet up here at the top, and then after we attach our flats, which have got to be attached here, and we're kind of playing with the overall length, and we're going to be going into the plasma cam and actually slicing our lines at a certain point there that will eliminate this 1/8 thickness here and come out to where this butt end will be coming down and joining the plate right here. We got to figure out that end, and I think I've already played a little bit, and like this is going to get lobbed off about 5/8 or so, but we got to confirm that again, and then we'll be attaching these. But the first thing we're going to do is the steps, and we're going to do the same thing on this one, then we're going to do it on the other rudder. I put my rollers on the table here so that we have this 100% straight in line. Now I brought my surface gauge over here, and I was able to set it up and eyeball it 0 with our center there. And because I straightened these shafts to a couple thousandths, I'm really confident that I can now freely take this, come over here, find center, come down here, find center. I can take this on up here, and I can find center of the blade. And I got one screw jack under here. I might go get another one. We're going to do real light tacks, and then we're going to kind of watch it. If I have to put screw jacks underneath this thing or support it there and to control the warpage or the heat or whatever, I'll be doing that. I'm just kind of letting you know what we're going to use to gauge this thing 100% level. Now, these webs, of course, we want these webs to be straight in line. This is going to be located where it wants to be in this one here. We're going to be kind of doing this as we go. The main thing being the top and bottom plate are going to be the same thickness as these webs. Alright, the vertical web comes up from front and back, and then this shoulder here, and this actually is going to be a web or the cap on the top, and the same thing down at the bottom, and this thickness will be the 3/16 to match this, and that'll be the plate. So I got that set so that this will take in here. Once we get this all welded, we'll be able to slide this off, put the dummy plate in here, slide this back up, and then we'll be able to take straight edge Dremel points and follow the web shape and lay out our shape. And once we lay out our shape, then we can go ahead and enter that shape into the plasma cam and then cut the top and the bottom two plates that will be joining in here. Now we have this cutout on the back side here for the zinc to be subset into the top of the rudder. So about in that area right there, this zinc will be set down in there, and they'll have two screws, so they'll be removable. And we're going to make it as polite as we can so that we have least amount of turbulence in there. There's going to be some. I wish we could mount it on the outside, but his swing to the tunnel is so tight that we're gonna swing it down. Then we have a couple other added features like drain plugs top and bottom so that we can fill the rudder with oil. And that's why we put all the lightning holes in here, is so that the fluid can travel freely through the rudder. And the purpose of the fluid inside the rudder is to keep it from sweating during temperature changes and stuff like that. So it'll always stay semi-protected on the inside. Of course, if you have to work on it, you have to flood out the fluid, which is probably oil-based, vegetable oil-based, something polite to the ecology, I guess you call it, or the environmentally safe fluid. Alright, now let's go ahead and we're going to start getting our bottom down here square, making sure we're all in here, make sure our distance is all in here. We pretty well set it all up, and double checking, making sure that our center all the way around, we're horizontal, we're level. We're going to go get another screw jack just in case we have to put one in here or there to help hold while we do the tacking. And we're basically going to be tacking these 6 points, the 3 in the front, 3 in the back, so that these webs are square, straight, and everything's tied in. I can feel that one move. we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a tack on each of the other sides here, just so we're uniform from side to side. Okay, we're going to let that cool for a minute before we pop it off of here. We're going to check out our height and everything, but we want to let it normalize a little bit. And we're going to flip this thing over. Now I didn't show you these because there's nothing spectacular. You've seen these being cut out on a plasma cam, and basically I just cut out the horseshoes, cut out some little squares, took my wire feeder, kind of clamped these things down, and created just some bridge clamps so that I can keep these two parallel, top and bottom. So I'm pulling them up now because the clamps sit up off the table or up off the part to where when I flip this on over, the heads would be hitting the ground. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and flip this. Everything's cooled down on this now. I'm just going to put this screw jack under here and this one under here. They're set for the height of this. I could slide it back here, but we're going to be putting the other one up here as well. And I just want to hit these areas right on this side so that we're equal from front to back, equal from left or port to starboard. And just so I know that I'm not going to be letting it freelance too much, I'm going to throw these back on here. So that I know that I'm keeping them level. This also gives us a good place to put the ground on. And we're going to do the same thing down here. Hang on a second, 2 more tacks here. We got our plastic mallet, we got this, and this is a practice run of being able to slide this off and slide this on before we get into welding these 6 points here and then creating the skin on here. And I think that one is the tight one. lifted the other stem out and we marked it A, and we're going to mark this one B. And after we had it all done, we marked B on the top section, or we marked A, but we're going to mark B on that plate there. Now this one here is running true just like we showed out on the rollers outside, and it's running true just like the other one. Now we're going to do the same thing. We got to go ahead and we got to get these things to fit over here and come on up to here. And we want to make sure that this one here is extremely open, because as you saw as we came before with each one there, it's a little tight when I got to here, but we were still able to go straight off with that blade there. So I'm real happy so far. The planning of doing this lets us slide it off, slide it back on, so that we can get that dummy template up here, and we'll be able to trace out exactly the shape that we're going to want for the top and the bottom. As far as that outside fish shape, it's gonna be elongated a little bit more in the front because it takes a turn, it takes another direction. It's not just a straight line foil. All right, it has, because the angle here will be a little different than just these that are in between. All right, I cut out this hole in this cardboard exactly the right height off of the steel table, and behind here we have a couple, in fact it's sticking out over here, a couple giant steel angle blocks that we use for various things, and they're supporting and holding that tight up against there. Now we machine a height here that we want to use to judge our wraparound. It's going to be coming on these webs here to give the example of the outside surface that we're going to want to gauge to, and we've plotted out a dotted or definite alignment in line with these three webs over the top, and we got a split line made up, and we're going to be able to pull our blade back off. That's why we made it so that we could pull it off and put it back on at this point here with just tacking those points together, so that we can put it back on here and hold it, mark this, pull it off, make the top plate, bend it, put it in place. Then this will go up for the final time, and then we'll rotate the shaft to be in its proper alignment, and then tack each of the webs to, and the top web to the shaft itself, create the bottom one, and then weld that, and then do all of the welding by staggering and controlling the heat and everything in the warpage without this flexing like that. And then we'll be able to take our skin and put our skin over the outside. So far that's the plan. And so we're all done laying this out. We're getting ready to pull this back apart, and I want to give you a visual of my pattern here, and then once we have the pattern we can lay this out and create this hard cutout on the plasma cam, and then we'll cut out a dummy piece of steel, we'll lay it down over our pattern to confirm it, and then we'll cut a stainless one out of that. So after we pull this cardboard off of here, we will create our drawing on the plasma cam, cut out a dummy steel plate, and then match that up, and if that is, we're happy with that, then we will go ahead and create a stainless steel one, and or a pair of them, because we're going to need two rudders. And then we can start going for assembling these and putting the bottom one together the same way. We'll just take and we'll turn this around, and we'll work this side over here,